And the bill is clear. I want to assure you, if it comes back, it's surely going to get our massive support.
Senator,
could
you...
even in the debate, it's not as if...
Pardon me,
it's not as if everything was rejected.
Okay, because I was going to come to that part. But if you could just shed some more light on that part that you highlighted about the, let me get the name again, modification of socio-cultural practices. I'm going back to that part that you cited. The 7.3 says, widows shall not be subjected to inhuman, humiliating, or degrading treatment. That's a semicolon there. Then 4 says, which is where you quoted, a widow shall automatically become the guardian and custodian of her children after the death of her husband, unless this is contrary to the interests and the welfare of the children. Many seeing this will just think, well, the intention is to ensure that the widow, the children, things go on properly. So is it that those who do not like this part don't want to see this part feature if the bill makes a return to the Senate?
Yes, I think this particular area will require further consultation. And the other one also is a widow shall have the right to an equitable share in the inheritance of the property of her husband. Now, this also is actually a controversial area, because if you look at the various cultural practices, or particularly, I think it is the religious angle that has more controversy here. And like the Senate Deputy Minority Leader said, Senator Boacha, he said, look, in the North, some of these provisions is capable of making people become mijin hajia. And if you understand that, even back in the cultural milieu of the North, I think it is something that we just have to tread very softly with. And those little provisions, if they are clean up and the bill is introduced, I want to assure you it will get massive support.
Senator, sorry, would you kindly explain what mijin hajia is? Senator, would you kindly explain what mijin, because a lot of people do not understand, in our context, what that could be, or how that provision could make somebody that. Let me make it clear here.
In the North, for example, the man is the head of the family. He is expected to provide for the family. He is expected to defend the family, and is expected to ensure that they suffer no harm. Now, there are situations where we have some very powerful women who, in fact, if you go to that family, you hardly know the man exists. I think, to the best of my knowledge, that is just a summary of what the people look at and they said, one is mijin hajia. In essence, he is not able to play his role as expected. And this sensitivity is not something that you can, wish away. And so if we are going to provide law that we regulate our life, I think we have to also ensure that at the end, we are providing what we ensure that family lives in harmony and to promote the welfare of those people. And
Senator, in clarification, would you kindly tell us...
It may look simplistic, but I think we have to really look at that very seriously.
In clarification, though, because you say this provision is talking about widows whose husbands are not present anymore. What happens in that kind of situation?
Well, in different parts of this country, widows are treated differently. And so I'm also aware that there are places where the widows are seriously humiliated. And this is not acceptable. Now, but the reality also is that if you look at the provision where you say a woman automatically will be the guardian of estate of her husband, if you look at the religious perspective, to a Muslim, that is very, very offensive. Because when it comes to inheritance, it is very clear the woman has a part, his mother has a part, the father has a part, his children, where he has children, they also have their part. And so for us, with respect to Muslims, for example, the issue of inheritance is never in dispute. If you see anything going contrary, it is somebody who is just being a cheat. But if you have to apply the provisions that Muslims have accepted, I think I will tell you the woman has a provision and she's well catered for. The same thing if he has a daughter, she's well catered for. So, but I'm aware that yes, there are climes where they are driven out. I know I've had cause to help a widow who was thrown out, and she was driven out of even the village, and I know I've had cause to really intervene in her life, so I know what it means. So we are not against those provisions, but those provisions that we set certain people against each other, I think they are provisions that we must really take very seriously. And like I said, if the promoters go back and address all those gray areas, I think the bill can come back and have a small sale.
We're taking a look at the Gender and Equal Opportunities Bill. Senator, could you tell us, is there any part of this bill that you think or you like to see when the bill returns to the Senate?
Yeah, absolutely, Chambali. There are, for example, prohibition of discrimination. We support prohibition of discrimination against every person within the context of our national peculiarities. Now, the provision where it talks about, I think, the aspect of, political and public life, we support that. And like I said, even the modification of the socio-cultural, what did they call it, where those few provisions are, modulated, I think we don't have any issue with it. And generally also, we believe this law is going to be complementary to such laws as the Marriage Act, the Child's Right Act, okay, and some other, existing, laws. And we want this, bill to properly align itself with some of these provisions so that we don't create further confusion by making provisions that perhaps, if some people see this as friendly to them, they might exploit those gaps. And the other aspect is right in matters relating to marriage and family life. Those ones that are complementary to the existing laws, I think we don't have any issue with that. And generally speaking, Chamberlain, let me make it clear here that if I can make this analogy, as a human being, if I have a boil on one part of my body, because of the sensitivity of the pains in that boil, all my attention will be on that. And depending on how bad I manage it, you may call, tell people that, look, this guy is ill. So I think we need to look at these things also from this perspective, that if there is a part that is a little bit too sensitive, the bill surely we get the kind of reaction it got yesterday. Because everybody you see making his contribution yesterday is making his contribution from various perspectives, and we are representing people. So it's our duty to ensure that we create that balance, because the Constitution also provides that everything we do must promote peace, unity, and harmony of all Nigerians. And I think doing otherwise will surely be a disservice to our people. So I want to make it clear for the opt-in time that rejecting or the disapproval of this bill yesterday does not amount to total rejection of the ideals of that gender empowerment, and we surely support it.
In other words, the senators from the North who say some of these sections are sensitive can always go to the drafters of the bill and let them understand their sensitivities to these matters.
Sure. I want to assure you that is already happening.
Okay. All right, Senator Aliyu Abdullahi, Chairman, Senate Committee on Media and Public Affairs, thank you for talking to us today. All right, we'll be back in a minute. Don't go away.